Next on the news.
Yeah, there we go.
A new library opens at St. Ephraim Catholic Academy in Dyker Heights after years without one.
This Brooklyn community coming together to make this library happen, donating hundreds of books. I'm Katie Vasquez, and I'll have that story coming up.
Catholics come together in North Carolina after Hurricane Helene leaves dozens dead and thousands without power. A sacred space tucked away in a college library. Why Manhattan University has hundreds of relics on their Bronx campus and how you can see them. I'm Christine Persichetti. Currents News starts right now. Catholic schools are dedicated to a quality education, which is why one Catholic academy in Dyker Heights has opened a new library after years of not having one. St. Ephraim's principal led the charge to add the reading room, a project he says wouldn't have been possible without the Brooklyn community. Currents News' Katie Vasquez reports on how books binded them together.
Yeah, there we go. Everybody, come on in.
These students at St. Ephraim Catholic Academy couldn't contain their excitement as the Dyker Heights School opened its new Eagles Readers Library.
It has lots of cool books.
Do you like to read?
Yes.
And so are you excited to read any of the books that you saw in here?
Yes.
Once upon a time, a long time ago, St. Ephraim had a different library, but it was converted into a classroom that was later used for storage.
You have feet in your shoes.
When Mr. Phillips took over as principal last year, he knew that had to change.
It was a shocker. I want to give them a space that during the day kids can come into and be able to find a way to escape reality.
Board of Trustees chairperson Carol Fell was thrilled at the idea. Reading was an experience she shared with her son, who graduated from the school in 1998.
We reinforced it at home, but these children, not everybody has parents who are able to reinforce it at home.
95% of the hundreds of books on the shelves were donated by families and community members.
There's a lot of books, and the books are very fun to read.
Although it was hard to part with, fifth grader Ava Plantamura contributed some of her own from home.
We wanted to get some extra space, and we thought that we could donate them.
Listen to our prayers.
On Monday, the space was blessed by St. Ephraim pastor Father Robert Adamo, who also brought a portrait of St. Jerome, the patron of librarians, to inspire these young Catholic readers.
The children would also get to learn about this great man who made a big contribution to the Christian world through the scriptures.
The Brooklyn School plans to create a saint corner so children can learn more about holy men and women. St. Ephraim also wants to invite authors in to speak with students. In Dyker Heights, Katie Vasquez, Currents News.
St. Ephraim says they will gladly accept more book donations. If you'd like to help, just call 718-833-1440. A news alert tonight from North Carolina as Catholics there mobilized to help with relief efforts after Hurricane Helene. In the Diocese of Charlotte, churches and schools are serving as aid distribution points as people deal with flooding, power outages, and limited access to food and clean water. The Charlotte Diocese Pastoral Center is also collecting supplies for daily deliveries to parishioners and residents in affected areas. Hundreds of people are still unaccounted for in North Carolina as the state struggles to deal with the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. The death toll from the storm now stands at more than 100, and more than 50 of those are in North Carolina. Joining us now is Monsignor Patrick Winslow, the vicar and chancellor for the Diocese of Charlotte. Hi, Monsignor.
Hi.
So, Monsignor, we've seen the images and videos coming out of North Carolina, but describe to us the devastation you're seeing.
Well, to be honest, the devastation that we're seeing is very similar to what others are, precisely because getting to these locations is extremely difficult. Access is limited by downed trees. We have roads that have been washed out, bridges that have been taken down. So one of our greatest crises that we've been facing is contact, being able to communicate with people in the inside of these areas. So it's been extremely difficult. What we're hearing directly from our people on the ground there is precisely what you're seeing. They've never seen anything like it. The situation is dire. Mercifully, our church properties have fared fairly well. And so they're able to be serving as areas where we're able to bring some resources in and contact sites for some people.
So with the roads washed out and the trees down, all of that, how is the diocese and Catholic Charities getting supplies to the people who need them?
So we are reaching out to the people that we have been able to make contact with. Sometimes people have to go to certain areas at a certain time of day just to get a signal and to be able to communicate with us. So we have been working with them to map out a few routes that we know that can successfully get into certain areas. And so we're making inroads into a couple different areas and bringing those resources to those people. I mean, this is half of our diocese. So more than 50% of our counties are in the affected area.
And I understand Bishop Michael Martin has lifted the Sunday Mass obligation, but we're hearing some churches held services as usual, even without power. It's time like these people really need to rely on their faith, right?
Without question. I was speaking to a pastor out in Nashville, which is where so much damage has occurred. And of course, it was difficult for them even to get the message that we lifted the Mass obligation. He said, but some people showed up. They needed to pray. They needed to go to Mass. They needed to be together. It was candlelit. There were as many as they could, those people that could get there safely. So they were smaller in number. But nonetheless, this will no doubt be the same impulse that the faithful will have in the weeks to come. They're going to want to come together. They're going to want to pray, to support one another, but also to attend Mass together. This will be a very important dimension, and they're coming back to some state of normal.
And we are praying for you down there. Monsignor Patrick Winslow, Vicar General and Chancellor of the Diocese of Charlotte, thanks for taking the time to be with us.
You're most welcome.
All right, and if you would like to help the people of North Carolina, you can also go to ccdoc.org/Helene Relief. Did you know you can find the remains from hundreds of saints in one spot in New York City? Over the years, Manhattan University has amassed a relic collection storing the sacred objects right on their Bronx campus. But as Currents News' Katie Vasquez reports, they'll soon be available for everyone to see.
Deep inside O'Malley Library at Manhattan University in the Bronx sits a treasure trove of sacred objects.
I would say close to about 600 different relics of a variety of saints.
Director of Archives and Special Collections, Amy Surak, says the university started collecting the relics as communities and retreat centers shuttered.
What do you do with it once an institution closes? And so, we want to safe house these. So it's like a lodge?
It created a secret prayer spot within the library for people who discovered the relics and wished to be among the saints. But now Amy says that's all going to change as they prepare to display the relics in a reliquary at the school's chapel.
We want to keep them, and we also want to make them available so that people can learn about the history of the church and the history of saints and the history of relics, really.
The collection includes hundreds of physical remains or personal effects of these holy people, like this piece of bone from St. Therese of Lisieux.
She was also known as the Little Flower. She was basically otherwise known as like a household saint, right? She lived a very pious life where she would do small things that had a profound effect on her spirituality and her piety.
It's an experience those in this LaSallian University say you have to see to believe.
The fact that we have these and we have access to them. No one would think that we have, relics of the apostles in the Bronx.
In the Riverdale section of the Bronx, Katie Vasquez, Currents News.
If you would like to visit the relics, you can make an appointment by emailing archives@manhattan.edu. That is this Currents News Update. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.